Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I'm going to show you how to replace the front shock absorber from any Volkswagen Golf MK5. Doesn't matter which year it is, doesn't matter if it's from the earliest models or if it's from the latest models. The method and the steps are exactly the same. So as you can see, my shock absorber from this car are all very rusty and they are not in a very good condition, and the car doesn't have the stability which should normally have because of the rusted springs and because the parts has never been replaced, I think, in the last 6 or 7 years. Today I decided, guys, to replace them and to show you guys how to do it. So first what we'll have to do is to open the hood and remove this plastic part from under the windshield. So as you can see, the wipers are installed over this plastic part, and you want to be able to remove this plastic part if you don't remove the wipers first. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. If you want to remove the shock absorber on these cars, you'll have to open and you'll have to lift up this plastic part in order to have access to the bolts which are holding the shock absorber mounted on the car. So as you can see on the passenger side, if I lift this plastic up, I'm able to see and I'm able to remove the bolts very easy on this side. As you can see, you have 3 bolts which are holding the shock absorber mounted on the car, on the subframe. But if I'm going on the right side, if I'm going onto the driver's side, normally you won't have the same access because the wipers and the wipers arm is installed on the driver's side, and because of that the plastic is not coming up and you will not have access to remove the bolts from underneath. So the only method which you'll have to do is to remove the wipers, and I recommend you guys to buy a special press to remove the wipers, because otherwise you are risking to damage the windshield or to break the windshield, because normally the wipers are stuck on the hub and you'll have to use a press like this to remove them and to release them from their place. So as you can see, this is how the press is looking. You'll have to put it underneath the wipers arm, and after that you'll have to pull them out. So this is all you have to do from the top part. After you remove this plastic part, you will have access to the bolts which are securing the shock absorber mounted on the subframe or on the car. So first what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove it and replace it onto the driver's side, and after that I'm going to show you guys how to do it on the passenger side. But everything is exactly the same on each side. Okay everybody, so I'm done with replacing the parts from the driver's side. I also removed the windshield wipers along with the plastic from under the windshield. And as you can see, I also sprayed some copper paste over the bolts, because in this way I'm preventing them from rusting in the future. So like I told you earlier, if you don't remove this plastic shield, you won't be able to remove the bolts from the top of the shock absorber. So as you can see right here, I replaced all the parts. I replaced the shock absorber along with the spring, along with the top flanges, and along with the sway bearings. And this is how everything is looking. As you can see, everything is in a perfect condition. From here, the car will drive very good. The stability will increase, and also the safer will be to drive the car with all these parts brand new. So what we'll have to do in order for you to replace the shock absorber on this car is to remove the bolts from the lower arm. After that, we'll have to remove the tie rod end. After that, we'll have to remove the bolt from the axle, and only after that we'll have to remove the bolt which is holding the shock absorber mounted on the hub. And right now I'm going to show you guys how to do all of these things and what you'll have to do on the passenger side on this car. To begin, I recommend you all to lift the car up and put it on a jack stand. I recommend you to lift both of the front wheels up, because in this way the tension will no longer be on the sway bearings, and in this way it will be easier for you to remove the sway bearings and also to replace all the other parts, because the tension will not longer be on the suspension parts. After you're done with removing the front wheel, I recommend you guys to start with removing the bolts from the axle. In my case, I'm going to use an impact gun because it's very easy and fast with this one. But if you don't have an impact gun, you'll have to use a big breaker bar, because normally the bolt from the axle, it's tight very good. So in my case, I'm going to put one screw on the hub, and after that I'm going to put this one between the caliper and between the brake disc, because in this way it will prevent the disc from turning when I'm going to remove the bolt, and in this way I'm going to remove it very easy and fast. So as you can see, in my case the bolt came out very easy because I also have a strong impact gun, but in your case maybe the bolt has never been replaced, and you'll have to hammer it very good, and also you'll have to hit it if it's not coming out. After that, we'll have to remove the cables from the ABS sensors, and after that we'll have to remove the 10mm bolt which is mounted on the shock absorber and which is holding the brake line on this car. After you're done with removing this bolt, I recommend you guys to take a wire brush or a brush mounted on the machine, like I'm doing in my case, and clean all the bolts which you'll have to remove, because in this way it will be very easy for you to remove the bolts, because the rust will go away and the dirt will go away and the bolt will spin a little bit easier if you clean it very good. And also I recommend you guys to spray some WD-40 on the bolts, just to make sure that you will be able to remove them without breaking anything. As you can see, I cleaned the area right here at the top, and now I'm going to clean it from underneath. So as you can see, this is the lower arm on this car, and I'm going to clean all of these bolts, and I'm also going to clean the bolts from the tie rod end. And like I said earlier, I recommend you all to spray some WD-40 or any penetration oil, just to make sure that you'll be able to remove the nuts and the bolts very easy. So this is how everything is looking after I cleaned the bolts and spray some WD-40 over them. So in my case, I'm going to remove also the sway links, but I'm going to replace them. So if you are going to replace the sway links, I also recommend you guys to remove it only from underneath, from right here. But if you are going to remove only the shock absorber and not replace the sway links, I recommend you guys to remove it from the top of the shock absorber. So first, let's begin to loose just a little bit the top screws which are holding the shock absorber mounted on the car. I don't recommend you guys to remove it completely, because otherwise you won't be able to remove the hub from the shock absorber. So you will only have to unscrew them a little, just to make sure that they are coming out, and after that you'll have to leave them like this. And from here, just follow what I'm doing. I'm going to do it in this way, and in the order which I'm going to show you guys is the perfect order and is the best way to remove all the parts. So just follow what I'm doing from right here. So from here I'm going to remove them just a little bit using my tool and my hand, and after that I'm going to use my pneumatic guns to remove them all the way out, because in this way using an impact gun it's a little bit faster and easier than using your normal tools. But if you don't have an impact gun, don't worry, just use your normal tools and you'll be good to go. After you remove all the bolts, you'll have to pull the lower arm completely out from the hub. In some cases it came out very easy, like in this case did, but in some cases you'll also have to use a hammer or a breaker bar to put it underneath and to push it down. After that, what you'll have to do is to remove the bolt from the tie rod end. If the bolt is not coming out, if the bolt is spinning with the nut itself, you'll have to use one tool and put it inside the bolt, inside the nut, and after that you'll be able to remove it in this way. So if you are going to remove the sway bar links, you'll have to do it in my way. You'll have to remove it from the sway bar first, and after that the sway bar link will come out with the shock absorber itself in one piece. So if you are removing the sway bar links, you'll have to do it in this way, and if you are not removing the sway bar links, if you are only replacing the shock absorber, you'll have to remove it also from the shock absorber. And normally, as you can see, the bolt is spinning with the nut, and what you'll have to do in this way, you'll have to put a special tool inside the bolt. If the sway bar link is in a good condition, you'll be able to remove the nut, but if it's in a very bad condition like this one is, if the sway bar link is all rusted, the tool which you'll have to use from the middle of the bolt will not work out. Normally they will strip the threads, and what you'll have to do is to take a big set of pliers like I'm doing right here, and you'll have to hold it in one place, and after that you'll have to remove the nut from the bolt. So just follow what I'm doing right here. I know that there is a lot of information, but if you don't know exactly how to do it, just follow what I'm doing, just follow my steps, and you'll be good to go. So as also, it's very difficult to remove the swivel links if they are in a very bad condition, but even if you are not able to remove it using a set of pliers, you'll have to cut it completely using a cutter machine. Okay, after that what we have to do is to remove the bolt which is holding the shock absorber mounted on the hub. So as you can see, in my case I'm going to use my impact gun, and the nut came out very good, very easy from the bolt, but as you can see the bolt is still stuck. And normally what you'll have to do, and you'll have to hammer the bolt just a little bit until it's coming out. And I recommend you guys to thread the bolt just a little bit back on the nut, meaning the nut on the bolt. And you'll have to make it flush, just to make sure that you are not destroying the threads when you are going to hammer it with the hammer. So as you can see, I'm hammering just a little bit the bolt, and in some cases you could also use some heat to heat it up, because in this way it will be a little bit easier and it will make it come out a little bit easier. This is how the bolt is looking on this side. I didn't manage to remove it using the hammer, but now I'm going to remove the nut from the bolt just to check the threads, and after that I'm going to try to remove it from the other side using the impact gun. So I don't really care if the bolt is going to break or not, because I also have a few of them in the back just to replace them in any case. So as you can see, to remove the bolt from this side, you'll have to turn the steering wheel into the opposite direction just to create more space to work with. And after that, you'll have to use a tool like this. This is an M14. This is the tool which you'll have to use to remove this kind of bolt. And in my case, I'm going to use the impact gun just to make sure that the bolt is coming out or not. And as you can see, I'm trying very hard to remove the bolt. It's not coming out in any of the direction, either in the left or either in the right side. And as you can see, the head of the bolt just broke off when I was trying to remove it in this way. So from here is not very much to do. As you can see, the head of the bolt is broken, and now I'm going to hammer it from the opposite direction to remove it completely from the hub. And as you can see, using the hammer I managed to remove the bolt completely, and now I'm going to replace the bolt with another one. So after you're done with removing the bolt which is holding the shock absorber mounted on the hub, you will also have to remove the tie rod end from the hub. And as you can see, I just hammered the hub just a little bit just to create some shocks, and in this way the tie rod end came out very easy. I didn't have to touch the tie rod end, everything is in a good condition. So now as you can see, everything is disconnected. This is how everything is looking. I removed the axle, I removed the tie rod end and also the lower control arm. And now you'll have to remove, and I also will have to remove the shock absorber. And in order for you to remove the shock absorber, you'll have to use a special tool to separate the metal part from the shock absorber, because only in this way it will release the shock absorber from the mounting point. So as you can see, there is a special tool and it's looking like this. You'll have to put it inside right here, and you'll have to turn it, and it will separate the metal part and it will create space to release the shock absorber. So as you can see, this is how you'll have to place the tool, and you'll have to hammer the hub just a little bit and make sure you don't hit the brake lines. And eventually, using this method, you'll have to move the tool up and down until the shock absorber is released completely, and after that it will come out from the place. So as you'll see, after only 2 minutes, the shock absorber is released from the hub. This is how it's looking. This is how you'll have to place the tool. And from here, make sure you don't put any tension on the brake lines, make sure you have a special place to put the hub with the brake disc and put it away. And from here you have to remove the bolts from the top, from the shock absorber, and remove the shock absorber completely from the car. So remember, those are the screws which I showed you at the beginning of this video. Now is the time to remove them completely and remove the shock absorber completely out from the hub. So as you can see, this is how the shock absorber is looking out from the car. This is the old one, and as you can see right here, the spring is broken and is missing a big part of the spring. And this is one important part, and this is why I also choose to replace it completely. This is the top flanges, and as you can see in the left side I have right here the new spring, the new shock absorber, the protection from the dust, the flanges, and also the new sway bar link. And from here, this is one tool which you'll have to use and which you'll have to buy. I recommend you guys to buy this one, but it's a little bit expensive. But if you don't have the money, I also recommend you guys to buy these ones, because those are not very secure, but it will help you to compress the spring and to make it fit on the shock absorber. So as you can see, this is the big tool. This tool was about 200 bucks, and it's very good to have in your shop, in your atelier. And as you can see, you have to use an impact gun if you want to do it a little bit faster. But if you don't have an impact gun, you can use your normal tool to compress the spring. And as you can see, the spring is compressed, and now I'm going to use the impact gun to remove the bolts from the top. And because of the impact gun, because the bolt is coming out so fast, you will not have to hold with another key the bolt from not moving around. But if you don't have an impact gun, you'll have to use another tool and put it inside the nut, inside the bolt, and with one hand you have to hold the bolt from not spinning around, and with the other hand you have to hold the nut, and vice versa. So as also, I removed the old shock absorber and I disconnected the parts only to remove the sponge part from the middle, because the part from the middle, it's reusable. I will not have to buy a new one because it's in very good condition, and you can reuse it how many times you want, because this part is not going bad so often. So as you can see, this is the flanges. This is how you'll have to install the flanges. This is the dust protection. You have to put it inside right here, and from here everything is snug, everything is ready to go. And as you can see, you'll have those two arrows, and those two arrows will go to the side to the engine. So these two arrows will go in the middle of the car, and the other part will go into the exterior of the car. This is the correct position which you'll have to follow to install the shock absorber in a correct way. So after that, you'll have to push the piston 3 or 4 times until it will create some pressure. I recommend you guys to push it in this way. You'll have to take your hand or something and push the piston inside the shock absorber to create pressure, and only after that you'll have to assemble it and put it on the car. After that, you'll have to make sure that the spring is sitting in the correct position. So as you can see, the spring has a metal part on which will sit on the shock absorber, and you'll have to make it snug on the metal part. So this is how you'll have to install the spring. And right now I'm going to compress the spring and I'm going to put it back on the shock absorber. Don't forget to remove the bolt from the top. And this is how we'll have to install it. And after that, you'll have to put the flanges with the dust protection kit all the way through the shock absorber. Don't forget to put the washer and the nut. And after that, you'll have to tighten everything back together. You'll have to use 2 tools. You'll have to use one tool, 1 centimeter key. And after that, you'll have to use an M6 using your normal ratchet. And you'll have to hold the bolt from not spinning when you're trying to install and when you're trying to tighten the nut on the shock absorber. And after that, you're ready to go. You can go ahead and put it on the car. So as you can see, the nut is installed correctly, the spring is sitting properly on the shock absorber, and now I'm going to go ahead and install it back on the car. Before installing the shock absorber back on the hub, I also recommend you guys to take a wire brush and clean the area very good, just to make sure that the area is snug and it's very smooth. And I also like to put some Vaseline inside it and also on the shock absorber, just to make sure that the shock absorber will slide in very easy and I will not have to put a lot of force to make it fit in the hub. So this is the bolt which I broke earlier because of the rust, and this is the new bolt which I'm going to install back on the hub. So just remember everybody, you'll have to put the arrows from the flanges towards the engine. So this is the correct position and this is how you'll have to install it on the car. You'll have to make the arrows face the engine, and the other side you'll have to put it into the exterior. And from here, with one hand I'm holding the shock absorber, and with the other hand I installed one screw just to make it snug on the car. And as you can see, now I'm putting some grease on the shock absorber just to make it slide easier on the hub. And from here I'm going to put the hub back on the shock absorber, and I'm going to install it in the same way as I disassembled everything. So from here, just make sure you put the cable from the brake line in the front, and this is how simple it is. You have to push it back, and because of the tool, because I had the tool back and I separated the metal part, the shock absorber is sliding in very easy. So from here I placed all the parts in their position, and now I'm going to tighten everything back together. I'm going to put it as it was before, and I'm going to come back and show you guys how everything is looking after I'm done. Okay everybody, I'm done with installing everything back on the car. I installed the new shock absorber, I installed the new swivel links and all the necessary parts from around it, and this is how everything is looking. I placed all the bolts in their normal place, I tied everything back together. I also sprayed some copper paste over the bolts because, like I said earlier, this is preventing them from rusting in the future, and it's also helping me to remove them easier in the future if I also have to. This is how everything is looking. This is how to replace the shock absorber on a Volkswagen Golf MK5 with all the necessary parts from around it. The only thing which I have to install next is the plastic from under the windshield, along with the windshield wipers, and that's it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.